da solo, Tevez al limite dell'area, gli fa fuori tutti, Tevez, si apre la porta, Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
Ciao, Juventini. Welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel, where of course it's all Juve all the time. It is match day. We got Juve Benfica today. The gaffer's flying solo. All right, you get just me today. All right, so let's see here how everybody's doing. I'm gonna say ciao to everybody. Bob Yogasal again. Ciao, everybody. It's going to be a fascinating match, one way or another. Let's go. Hashtag Max still there. That's right, Jeremiah, guys. We've got to win this game. I want the team, especially Max, to really switch it on. We all want Max to do well, but he keeps pissing us off. Starting 11 will be crucial. We're going to go over the starting 11, well, the projected 11 at this point, and everything else. We've got some predictions already in there. David Mirabella, I think it's going to be 1-1. Justin B, it must be 3 points. Bikram Jeet saying, I think we will win 2-0 against Benfica, who hasn't lost, actually has won every single game dating back to 16 in a row, apparently, right now. If you count the friendlies leading up to this season, this is going to be a tough one for Juve based on the form they're going into. We're going to talk a little bit about the news, Juventini, and everything that's kind of been going on. So today, when it's just me, just happens to be myself, life happens. Some of the other team members can't make it onto the show today. So when it's like this, it's a lot more interactive between the live chat and myself. So I actually still enjoy these ones a lot. So Claudia, what jersey is that? I like it. This is actually one of the icon kits. I think it's 2 seasons ago, their icon kit. They've got an icon kit coming out this year that looks very, very much like the goalkeeper kit that Zoff wore way back when. So very, very retro look. This, yeah, very, very clean. Very, very clean and very, very comfortable. Still available through like eBay and whatnot, so you could still find these icon kits, and they're very, very nice. I highly recommend it. Let's get into some of this. We're gonna talk about a little bit of the news still. Okay, I want to ask you guys a question. Are you over everything that took place on the weekend? Okay, with that absolute nonsense that went down against Salernitana. Let's see if that's Cush again. Nice top. Everybody loving the icon kit. Gonna roll with this one today. See if it'll help send us some luck here. So the weekend, Salernitana, obviously in the news. Obviously, the aftermath was massive. Joe Cappuccino immediately coming in saying no. It's interesting to see the difference in opinions out there and everybody. And I mean, a lot of Juventini so frustrated in our play still, saying that, look, who cares about the non-call, whatnot? Well, you can't really say you don't care about the call. I mean, the team tried to fight back. They did fight back, and they scored a valid goal that was taken away. So regardless if we didn't deserve anything out of that match, they still fought back to find the results and everything. And the fact is, the images came out that showed they made a huge error. So they're separate. There's a separation there between frustrations in our play, but what's right is right. Us playing awful doesn't mean that the rules need to go out the window. So that's the frustrating part. And I've got an interesting I've seen some interesting opinions out there that I want to bring up and see how the live chat feels about it. For the majority here, we still have some Juventini here that are not over it. Missed opportunity, game momentum, believe would have brought us around 2 points from the top and everything. So it's frustrating. Gravina, obviously from the FIGC, coming out and saying that the goal should have stood, yet the referee and the head of VAR did not make any mistake and will not face suspensions or anything like that. This is hilarious because he's trying to wipe their hands clean of it just by saying they don't have those images and that they looked at that still. That's not good enough. That is not good enough, especially when you're overturning calls that were on the field. And when you see another image that the linesman on the field is literally looking down that line, he probably saw Candreva there. They didn't even talk to him. So it's wild, wild stuff, Juventini. As far as our rivals that want to talk about us and not getting the calls. And remember, if you remember to the last show, we brought up on the post match this image here. I'm gonna try and find it here. I think I still have it. There it is. So we pull up this image, and this is still going around social media. And you have our rival fans that are basically saying, look, if anything, this just shows that Juve used to get all the calls, and now they're not. No, that's not the case. What this is evidence that Juve remains now still not getting all the calls. All right. So, and again, when it comes to our rivals, who really cares? Who really cares? I could care less what they have to say. The fact of the matter, this should not change anything in terms of how we feel about rivals and how they feel. It's all the same. If you remember, or if you weren't supporting Juve at the time, but you date back to 2006 when all that Farsapoli crap went down, which was a living joke. Here's the thing: these rivals, all their fans, it bleeds into them. It's like this Italian thing from Serie A, where they would rather the league burn to the ground than do what's right, or protect the league itself. Just like in 2006, they would rather see the league burn down to the ground, and they almost took it right down just in order to knock Juve down a peg. Okay, this is it. Okay, it's Juve, it's us against the world, us against all odds, us against everybody. It always has been, it always will be. It's another reason why Andrea Agnelli wants to just get out of this league, not get out of it completely, but start the Super League, because these guys are a joke. Okay, they're an absolute joke. We've become laughed at by leagues all over Europe because of what happened on the weekend, and the president comes out and stands behind it like we all expected and like we said was going to happen. That's the bottom line. All right, that's the bottom line. Now, let's get to some of the news coming out in here. I thought it was interesting in the press conference leading up to this Benfica match. Again, just everybody's feelings, everybody's thoughts and emotions about Max Allegri right now. Okay. So when it comes to Max, obviously the majority right now is saying it's time for a change. Okay. So here we go. It's, you've got the press conference yesterday, and this is just a small little thing that I took out of it, that for me, it's just that lack of consistency. I talked about it a couple weeks ago when we had Adiva Bene coming out after our Fiorentina draw and saying, just because we had to play PSG next, no, we don't fear anybody. We have to get into it. We have to get our heads up and go. We fear nobody. And then you have Max with the now famous comment of, that's not an important match. The Benfica one, it will be a crucial one. Okay, that's cool. Here we are at the Benfica match. Yesterday, he sits next to Danilo in his press conference, and Danilo, again, Danilo's words continue to be strong. That of a leader. He says the right things. He says what should be backed by the vets going into his team. Now, what he says, obviously, is tomorrow we have to win. It's a massive game. There's no way around it. We have to improve, and we have to do so quickly, but tomorrow must be a win. Get to Allegri, sitting right next from the guy. Tomorrow's important, but it's not decisive. Max, pick your lane, buddy. Pick your damn lane, okay? Week ago, week and a half ago, whatever, it's more important than PSG. Here we are at this match. It's important, but it's not crucial. Come on, man. Let's go. Pick it up. And here's one of the problems I have with this team. While everybody's talking about Max and all this and whatnot, it's not even so much skill set. It's not even so much ability of players that bothers me and whatnot, or lack thereof, and that he's trying to manage through that. I understand trying to manage through these injuries and everything like that. But when you watch this team play and we're flat on our face for about at least 30 minutes a game, this is the opportunity. This is the moment. Okay, after a shit show that took place against Salernitana, after that goes against you, okay, this is the easiest way to light a fire under this team and motivate this team. This is the easiest way to do it. You were practically handed this on a platter, Max, to get this team rolling, to fire them up, and you still want to deflect and crank the pressure down and bring it all down. Stop with the Galma stuff, and it's time to turn it up and turn it on. Light a fire under these guys. You just had it handed to you, a situation, a moment that can spark and ignite and bring unity and get everybody rolling, and you just take it, and again, you want to just deflect it and bring it down. That's my thoughts. I'm curious to see if anybody felt the same way as me. I thought it was an immediate assistance to Max to try and get this team sparked up, and it is what it is here. Now, here we go. 2 wins in 7 matches, 11 if you date back to last season for Max Allegri. And I saw some tweets there. I'm going to see if I can pull this one up for you because I want to read it to you, because I want to see how everybody feels. Now, this particular message, and we don't need to actually call anybody out or anything, but it's just more for the the talking points, okay? So, where was it? It was somewhere about his results. And we have, okay, so it's right here. We have lost 4 points to referees in the Roma and Salernitana matches. Okay. That means we'd be sitting at 14 points with a squad ravaged by injuries and Sandro as our best fullback. And people want Allegri sacked? Question mark. How do you feel about that? I'm curious to see how everybody feels about this. So, B1897 wasting no time. I actually did this before I even got to it. Say Max is clueless. Unfortunately, I do not believe our team will start playing better out of nowhere. My only hope this season are Pogba, Di Maria, and Chiesa and their individual contribution. There you have it. So, this tweet that I just read is more so on the line of believing that when all these players come back, it's just going to immediately pick up and get better. Okay. But for me personally, this is still it makes us too much victims. Granted, what happened against Salernitana, but the Roma match, maybe a PK on Smalling there on that one, sure. But what if we miss the PK? Like, there's too many ifs here. At the bottom line is too, results. It's like we keep finding a way to go beyond what Max is known for to protect him as of right now. Seriously. You had Sarri and Pirlo who had one season, one and done. And now you get to Max and it's like, well, the results, yeah, well, because of this, and this. Hey, let's keep it consistent. I'm pretty sure he finished with less points than Pirlo last year. He secured 4th easier, but does that speak more to him or the season previously and how difficult it was? It's just, for me, we keep going further and further back. It's like, okay, well, it's all about results and everything like that. Who cares about playing ugly? What results? Where are they? 2 wins in 11 games dating back to last season. That's not good enough. And before it used to be, hey, you guys should be happy with us playing garbage because we're getting results. Look what Max is doing with this roster when we had Matuidi, Khedira, Pjanic, all that. Look what he's doing with this roster. But now all of a sudden it's all about the roster. the guy that's supposed to get everything out of it's for me, it's excuse after excuse after excuse. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. The team needs to do better. So calling it out for the refs and those scenarios too, for me, is super, super weak. And I'm not behind that. Today, Benfica, this is a big one. There are some that believe if things go wrong, which I don't even want to talk about really or think about, but that Juve might pull the trigger. We're going to talk about the factors, the outside factors, and what could happen there. Okay. Let's get to some comments here from some of you. The refs are notoriously bad in Serie A. We can't just blame them for our problems. I agree. I agree completely. I don't like that and the precedents it sets for our players. Like I said, yin and yang here. You have an opportunity after Salernitana to fire up your team instantly, get them fired up, pumped up. You don't take it. Now all of a sudden we're complaining about the officiating, all this. This is what our rivals used to do when we were winning all the time. Are we turning into Napoli, for God's sakes? Are we turning into these clubs? No. Not for me. Not for me. Faya saying Max, he gets all the benefits from Conte when the club project. It makes it worse, in my opinion. Oh, what do we got here? Napoli also has 14 points, but they play way better than us. They have a good system and approach. They dominated Liverpool, and they are motivated every single match. Yeah. Can you honestly say Juve do that against Liverpool? Not right now. That's for damn sure. Does it instantly get better when our stars come back? I don't know because I don't see any team. I don't see a lot of team play. There's flashes of it, but it's very, very few and far between. I don't know why we can't be consistent, but for me, it's beyond the skills. It's beyond the skills and the abilities of the guys. For me, I see us falling flat on our face for large, large spells of the game, which just is hard. We have no heart. We have no fight. It's just, there's something deeper. There's something more that's missing. That is just not about skill sets and abilities. That's why I have my doubts that those guys coming back just will not solve our issues. They might save some matches from us here, win us some points here and there, but overall, I don't know. I don't know. Dell saying that complaining about refs equals small club mentality. There you have it. There you have it. Yeah, it's interesting to hear all these thoughts and everything. I just wanted to bring it in and see how the live chat felt about it because there's a lot circulating around Juve right now, and rightfully so because we've got to right the ship. And there's Juventini that do not like hearing about the possibility of Max leaving. And they say sacking another coach is just going to make things worse. Well, let's talk about the factors that play in and what a coaching change would look like, because honestly, it's not a guarantee. And those that say that, yeah, the concern of it not being corrected is 100% valid. And there, it could be that nothing changes. That would be absolutely awful. Because again, the only reason you're talking about coaching change because things have to turn around. You can't continue going on. Like, how many games in a row without a victory are we going to take this thing? Hopefully he gets the win today because this one is huge today against Benfica. But if you look at this, outside factors, Juventus is facing 250 million euro deficit. Okay. They've got Max under contract. They would still have to pay that. They wouldn't have to pay it all up front. They would just treat it as an annual salary. That means your next manager in probably is going to be on the cheap unless they just decide to take a hit on somewhere on the roster and utilize some of that money. But for a team that's got 250 million that they're trying to recoup in, that also makes results now critical because we need the resources. If we get bounced out of the Champions League group stage, that's big. That's big, and that's going to hurt us. If we continue on and all of a sudden are battling just to get into the Champions League again for next season, when you're facing 250 million deficit, I don't even want to think about not qualifying for the Champions League. next season. And if Juve is so calm about things right now, maybe just maybe Agnelli knows something about this damn Super League that we don't, and that there's going to be a massive influx that's just going to handle all of that. I don't know, but these are some of the factors that we have to think about when making a coaching change. Is the reality is the financial burden that you're tied to, and the fact that this guy's under contract for a while. Last year, it was reported towards the end, if we don't qualify for Champions League, that that would create the break in contract for Juventus to move away from Max Allegri. Also, another scenario, let's not even talk about or think about. But in terms of the overall, getting another manager in, it isn't a guarantee. It's very, very sketchy for Juve based on where they sit, because the other thing is too, maybe just maybe management is being gun shy because they can't afford to miss this next one, whoever it is, and whenever. I'm not saying like it's going to happen all of a sudden, but whenever it does, Juventus cannot miss. They can't miss on the next coach that takes over after Allegri, whenever that is. But of course, my hope is that these talks and all the uncertainty clear up, and that we just figure it out and get it going. But for those that just don't want to listen to it, and are so dumbfounded and defending Max strongly, you have to be serious here and realistic that, number one, it comes with the territory as a manager, as a coach, like, to be heavily criticized when you have expectations and your team's not meeting up to those expectations. The fact of talking about skill sets, players, abilities, all this, injuries and whatnot. Hey, there's managers all over playing with teams that have injuries and whatnot that find results. Then it gets into the depth of their team versus depth of ours. Look, at the end of the day, it's results. We need the results. And more so than anything, like I said, for me, this team hasn't changed in terms of mentality over 3 years. It was the one thing I thought Max for sure would bring, is that razor sharp focus and ability to play for 90 minutes consistently, which we never saw with Sarri. We didn't see it with Pirlo and whatnot. Last year, we didn't get it with Max, and we're not getting it so far. They're not hungry, they're not driven, and they're not fighting through. They don't look like a typical Max team. These past this year and last year, they look like the Max teams that were starting that period of frustration for us leading into Sarri and Pirlo seasons. It looks like a lot of Max's last season. So again, our hope is that they turn it around and that we don't have to keep this talk on. But right now, this is the major news, is what is Juve going to do? How far do you continue on? What's going to happen today? Big match against Benfica today, everybody. A big one, okay? Bikramjeet saying we must stay with same coach till end of the season. Only then we can make a fair assessment. But are we going to make a fair assessment, and how far? I keep asking people, what is your breaking point? Because if we just let this thing go, and let's just say those stars come back and nothing changes, then what? You're going to ride this thing out for a season's entirety. And I just don't know. I don't know. I need to see personally a little bit more progress. What are you saying? Do or die match tonight. Nothing less than a victory will be accepted. I agree. I agree completely. I'm sad, very sad to hear that there's close to 10,000 seats unaccounted for at home in a Champions League match to Benfica. That's super frustrating what's happening to this Juventus. It just, there's so much going on, and there's so much that needs correcting, and it's not just Max. And here's the thing, when I talk about this whole thing, and like I said, it comes with the territory for those that just don't want to hear it and don't want to understand that Max is under fire. It comes with the territory. It's part of the job. But the other thing is, it's not that he's the only problem, but you might have to come to a point where you just have to spark something in these guys. And sometimes it's just a coaching change. It's difficult to take this situation on, but it's very, very hard. Michael Rozzo asking, Al, can you explain the situation with the fans? So I got into it a little bit, a couple episodes ago. And basically, I was speaking with Maurizio from around Turin, and I asked him, I said, Maurizio, what's going on with the fans there and still the seats and everything? Is it prices? Like, there's a lot that factors into it. Okay. So it's obviously it all started with the Curva R Ultras being kind of banned and made difficult for them to get to games. It's obviously we heard about the banners and all that being banned, no banners, drums, anything like that. Like basically no props for the Ultras, the fans, and whatnot. However, the visiting fans are allowed to still do all that. So it's frustrating. That was the frustration. That's where it all kind of started. The team's play and the performances, the misguidance over these past few years, Sadi, the Pirlo, all this, the madness that's ensued has led to this as well. Our play has a part of it. Maurizio literally said, a lot of people can't be bothered. You're spending a lot of money, hard-earned money, and you just don't care to watch it. And the stadium doesn't have the atmosphere it once did, and that's the way it is. This is a true story, okay? I've talked to two friends who have recently been to Italy, and they were visiting family. They were having a good time, and he said, I thought about going. It's a 6-hour drive. I gotta pay, gotta get there, and then I need accommodation, all this. And I just thought I'd rather spend the time with my family. What if I go there and they just played the same way they have been? And he didn't end up going. And honestly, it's tough. If you want to talk about me heading over there to go, I love going. I would love to go. Would I right now spend what it would cost me, which is maybe somewhere all round trip before like just flights? I'll probably be, $2,500. Tickets, accommodations, the whole 9 yards. Ah, man, it would be nice to go to say, yeah, I'd expect a big game. The last time I went was 17-18. Okay. I went in 17-18. I had no doubts. It was going to be great to watch and everything. And the atmosphere was still there. The curva was still there. But right now, the reality is a lot of fans, they're just not believing that it's worth it financially. And the misdirection from management, upper management, has a lot of fans upset. Atmosphere, it just, you can't play a home game to Salernitana and Salernitana travels with 2,000 fans and they blow you out of your own stadium. That needs repair. That needs repair. We want to talk about mentality, and I always talk about the players just falling flat on their face and getting fired up. At the bare minimum, at home, you should have that assistance from the crowd, the curva and all that. So the fact that we kind of shoot ourselves in the foot with that one is just frustrating. That's one thing with Agnelli that drives me absolutely nuts, is that he literally punished everybody for the mistakes of a few when it comes to our curva. And that for me is a shame, a damn shame, because what was once a fortress for us is now nothing more than it's almost a library in there. And that's a damn shame. A damn shame. Okay. Now, let's get to the Benfica stuff, everybody. Okay. So I talked about it a little bit. Benfica, 16-game winning streak if you count the friendlies. We've got, they're definitely coming in with the momentum. Okay. Not their games are not blowouts. They're not blowing teams out of the water, but they play very, very strong, progressive football. Okay. The other side, obviously, is us. Juve's hitting a pressure cooker scenario here. Okay, there's no way around it. As much as our manager wants to deflect it and downplay it, look, it's almost hitting boiling point for Juventus. A victory today is a must, like all of you have said in the live here. Okay, and I want to remind you all, while you're here, please can you hit the like button on this on this video? If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. All right, yeah, we're in a boiling point here for Juventus. If we fall again, we'll tackle that tomorrow if it happens, because I don't really want to think about it or talk about it, Juventini. Okay, it has to be a win. In terms of the history of this one, these teams have only met twice in the Champions League. Okay, way back in 67-68 season, it was semifinals, and Benfica got the best of us over 2 legs, 3-0 on aggregate. In total, we've met them 6 times. Juve has only won once and has a draw. So 4 wins go Benfica's way. In 92-93 UEFA Cup quarterfinals, we remember that's when we eliminated them. And then, of course, we remember the Europa semifinal in 13-14 where we lost on a 2-1 aggregate scoreline, bowed out to them. Okay, so history in this one, granted only a few, not on our side. But if you're looking at these teams on paper, just based on form right now, it's going to be one hell of a match for Juventus. Being ready is not an option. They must be ready, ready to fight, ready to give everything. Not 100%, 150% for the victory. Absolutely has to happen. If we're talking about, let's get to the betting odds. Juventus, if they win, pays 2.3. A draw pays 3.25, and Benfica winning pays just shy of 3.25. So Juve slight favorites despite everything going on, form and all that. Juve still slight favorites in this one. I don't feel that way though. Okay, I don't feel that way. If we're going to look at injuries real quick, getting into this one, Benfica will remain without services of Lucas, Verissimo, João Victor, and Felipe Morato. The defensive trio ruled out midweek due to injuries. In terms of Juventus, we have Di Maria. Not slated to start, though, okay, but he is in. Barbieri will be in too. Out. Sandro's out. Rabiot's out. Locatelli's out. Pogba, we know. Chiesa, we know. Szczesny, still out. Ake, and then, of course, Caio Jorge. There might be a couple more. Who knows? At this point, I think some of our training staff's getting hurt as well. Who knows? But that's the long list for Juventus. In terms of looking at these teams on the pitch, how they play, it's slated we're going to be in a 3-5-2. Can also take the shape of a 4-4-2 and then switch off Kostic, Cuadrado on the outsides, Milik and Vlahovic expected up top. In the middle, Big Mac, Paredes, Miretti. At the back, of course, Danilo, Bremer, and Bonucci. 3-5-2. I said this, and I want to get your thoughts on it. For me, 3-5-2 makes a lot of sense in this one because Benfica is very, very strong in flank play. So 3-5-2 gets you a little wider, able to slow them up a bit on that. It also gives us the best possibility to transition into attacking from defensive, okay? And Milik, for me, is a must start. No questions asked. Milik has to be in there. I think Milik being in there also helps Vlahovic. So 2-forward system is a must for me right now, especially when Di Maria enters. Does it change? Do you go to 4-3-3? I personally think what I would do is, rather than play Miretti on the left side of Paredes, I'd play him right in the center. Whether McKennie can or can't play a pivot, hang back McKennie, do the defensive work, be a ball winner, just like Paredes will. Let Miretti play out of the center and move in a straight line up and down so that he could support both sides, left and right, so that we can have some balance. And playing him that way should help spark a little bit of counterattacks and get Vlahovic moving. and even Milik moving. If you play Moretti out of the middle as that advancing midfielder, allow Vlahovic to go and find some space, not literally be planted in the same spot over and over, being able to be ruled out easier. So 3-5-2 for me personally, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Cush saying 100% start Milik next to Dushan, and we will win every game. Well, hey, right now we just got to win this one. We've got to win this one today. Okay. Faye is saying yes, 3-5-2, 3-5-2. Justin B saying a 2 or 3-0 victory today would be classic Allegri, but we really need to attack. When you see players pressing and playing an attack style, they do very, very well. So, thing with Benfica, I talked about their strong wing flank play and whatnot, but they're also just they're not afraid, and they're going to put pressure. Juve's got to be ready to counter them, because so far when you watch their games, and I went through a few of them last night, breaking down a few halves of football from different matches, different results, just to see, and different strength of opponents. They are not afraid, regardless who they play. They will put bodies forward, and they will get there. They get hurt on the quick counters and stretching them out. So Vlahovic and Milik, it's important for them to keep them honest, keep Benfica honest, and push them. And we should be looking for some of those sends from the back. And Bonucci better be aware, because if he's got opportunities to do that quickly, we can find some ground and maybe push them back and keep them a little bit more honest. So it's going to be something to look for as well. In terms of the 3-5-2, it also allows some of our players to cheat a bit against Benfica. Benfica is most likely going to be in a 4-2-3-1. Also, sometimes it looks like a 4-3-3 based on how they play, but it's essentially in that realm, right, is how they play. That's what they're expected to do against us as well. There will be space. There will be opportunities. Juventus has to be ready to pounce. Okay. So we'll see what happens. Rick Ozzy says, watching the game in with the JOFC fan club in Pescara tonight. Wow, that's pretty damn cool. Hey, listen, anybody that has an opportunity to take in matches or be a part of any of the Juve official fan clubs, I can't say enough good things about them. My trip this summer to Los Angeles to watch Juve, it was crazy. The fan clubs, the amount of work they put in, and how awesome it just really, really is. If any of you watched my Berto in LA vlog of me going down there, you should check it out. And I mean, some of those interviews I did with some of the fans there, I literally met a couple of them literally like minutes before recording. And it's one of the beautiful things about the game and about what the fan clubs do. But some of them I felt like I'd known them for years. And, it just ultimately brings you together so quickly. So if you get the opportunity, if there's official fan clubs near you, I highly recommend taking in the games with them and joining. It's great stuff. They bring you as close as possible to the club. So it's great stuff. Now, let's talk about how some of these fans are feeling here. So there's already talk going on in the live chat about coaching changes and whatnot, but we're talking about Benfica here today, and this is going to be a tough one today. I don't want to get into my predictions just yet. We're going to save the predictions for a little bit later, okay? But I want to open this up now to all of you for Storm the Barn, okay? So I always said, like, we aren't able to get some of the other team members in here today, but what we can do is get as many Storm the Barn questions as we can instantly here, okay? Let's talk about some thoughts here while I wait for some of these Storm the Barn questions to come in here. Nader Mustafa saying Cuadrado is a liability. He stops the play, increasing nervousness. Cuadrado, I've been on him this season in general, match in, match out, because it's just got to be much better from Juan Cuadrado. Absolutely has to be. I've been on him all season. And last match against Salernitana, he tries to cut that ball off that basically lets Matsuki run in and then get a 1v1 against McKennie in the area, all because Cuadrado just had, like, why is he trying to cut that ball off? Like, the players go nowhere if you just hold your ground. You're just going to push him backwards. He would have had to settle it with his chest. And even if Quad gets to that ball, he's going to just basically barely get ahead to that thing. We can't have veterans making errors like that. Okay. So that's an error I would expect from a young guy, not a seasoned veteran like Cuadrado. And that's where Cuadrado is at the moment. He's showing poor confidence, low confidence in taking players on 1v1. And he's making errors like that, which are unacceptable. You can't have guys making that mistake, let alone your veterans. So it's got to be way, way better from Juan Cuadrado. I've been hard on him this season. Now, Cush saying he agrees with both wingers not taking on the man. And Kostic I've been a little bit critical of him being too quick to want to cross the ball all the time. I know he's capable of more. And we just got to see it. I don't know if it's a comfort thing and he's still not in there, or if it's just this pressure to get the ball into Vlahovic or whatnot. But his crossing is getting better, though. It is starting to get better. He's starting to mix it up. He's starting to go low and hard sometimes, and sometimes look for the trailers. So he's mixing it up, but still a lot getting blocked and a little bit too quick. Michael Rozzo coming in with one right away. If we lose today, do you sack Allegri? So for me, does the how matter? And I guess I'm asking everybody on the live, does how we go down today matter? Because I guess if we go back to that tweet that I showed earlier, if we put in an inspired, driven performance, say we generate a ton of chance, say maybe a couple posts, are hit and we fall by a goal, does that keep them around, or is it just the results? I think it's a lot of the how for me right now, because again, when that tweet breaks down results, in terms of results, we're not far off. We're in the mix. We've got some unfortunate non-calls our way and whatnot. It's not as bad when you look at just results. But for me, it's on the pitch. If we fight, put through a driven performance, maybe, just maybe, you don't pull the trigger yet. The other thing is, what's the change? Who do you go to next? Because to be honest, out of all the coaches that have been named and everything, there's uncertainty with all of them. And there's something we have to realize, that this pressure cooker, this scenario Juve's created at the managerial position, maybe, just maybe, some of these guys we're naming actually don't want to come to Juve. That's another possibility and another reality that we have to think about. So for me, it's a tough decision. Tough decision. But if we fall flat on our faces, are we maybe just going to ride out with Landucci? Do we want to ride out with Landucci? I don't know. If it's bad today, which I don't think it's going to be, we'll get to predictions later. But if it's bad today, maybe that's a tough call. Tough call. The only way is up, in my opinion, for Dells. There you go. Man, we'll see what happens, but it's very, very hard. Whoever's available, we don't even know if they would actually accept. So it's tough. Let's see what happens. Keep the Storm the Barn questions coming in, everybody. Dell's saying not really out, because we know that even if we put in a good performance, we have no consistency and it'll be bad the next week. That's fair. That is fair, to just have these doubts and concerns about Max picking up any type of consistency, even if we put in a strong showing here. And this is the thing that gets me. While everybody's defending Max using the injuries and everything like that, well, look what we did against Roma. There's nothing stopping that. Like, a player coming out of there too, there's nothing stopping that from happening, at least that work rate, at least that drive. So I don't really know. Domenico De Fazio, We don't really have any choices right now with all the injuries. There isn't many possible formations. So he's just speaking to formations and whatnot and what we can do. Maybe speaking to that handcuffing Max. I don't know. Potentially. We got another storm the barn here. If we lose today playing like the Fiorentina game. Okay, so now Michael's clarified. If we lose today playing like we did against Fiorentina, which was 65 minutes without an attempt, do you sack Allegri? Pirlo is still under contract. Maybe they can team up. If we put up a performance like Fiorentina in this one against Benfica, I'll be quite honest from my standpoint, I would probably look at change and start figuring out their options. Here's another thing too. Does anybody think they're even looking at a change? Because the way a lot of Juventini are speaking is that they have no signs. There's no signs. There's not even a thought of that happening, and he's going to be around. There's Juventini that say they committed to a 4-year project. I had this discussion with someone on social media. They committed to a 4-year project, and there is absolutely no way that Max is going to be moved without seeing the project through. And I said, how on earth could you do that if we continue to skid and slide with results? Results are massive. I don't care about what the plan was or anything like that. One of the most famous quotes ever from Mike Tyson: everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. Hey, we're getting punched. We're getting punched right now. The results aren't coming. 2 wins in 11 matches dating back to last season. How far on do you go before pulling the trigger? Definitely not seeing out a 4-year project. 250 million deficit, and some want to tell me that the results won't stop that project from moving through. I disagree. I strongly disagree right now. And like I said, unless Agnelli knows something about this Super League that we don't, and this massive influx coming in, I don't know. But if we play today like we did against Fiorentina and we drop it, yeah, I would definitely see what options we have. That's just me. Storm the Bar Nader Messiah. Is Juventus situation comparable to that of Man U's? Requirements for a ground up redesign. Well, the thing is, that's what we thought. And I guess right now what we're looking at is, has it truly in fact been a ground up redesign? It technically can't be, because you were still handcuffed. Cherubini and Arrivabene were still handcuffed with some bad contracts that had none of their doing, right? So in terms of Cuadrado, Sandro, even Rabiot and whatnot, like these guys are going to move on naturally at the end of this year. Then they can that'll probably finish up the full redesign. You have options on Di Maria. That'll change the face up top a bit too. They'll have to do that. Milik is on a loan with an option right now. He's been our best. He's been one of our best right now. And that says a lot when a guy that comes in that's not part of the squad is at a level and a standard that we're not matching up to with the rest of the guys. That really speaks volumes to me. Remember the whole De Ligt thing, as annoying as it was? Do you guys remember that? Remember how he left and all of a sudden is training for Juventus, a team that trains so hard apparently. He wasn't up to the standards at Bayern. Not only that, but De Ligt wanted out of Juve. Guys that think that we're going to stay true to this Max Allegri thing no matter what, you're not going to have these guys stick around. Dusan Vlahovic will not stick around, not being in contention for Capocannoniere and not getting enough touches in games and opportunities to do what he does. He's not going to stick around. You're starting to see the frustration hold through. Some Juventini are telling me that's his attitude, and he's trying to bring the other players along with him, but I see a guy that gets frustrated very, very quickly. And De Ligt spoke out, as annoying as he was when he left. he's shedding some light on what it's like over there. We got some work to do. We got some work to do, Juventus. We absolutely have some work to do. Bremer better than De Ligt. What does that have to do with the players being frustrated and wanting out? Regardless, De Ligt wanted out. Whether Bremer's better than him or not, that just is a feather in Cherubini and Arriva Beni's hat that they were able to steal him from Inter. If they didn't, we would have really been screwed. Because again, you have a player that wanted out. He chose another project that's better, regardless if he's sitting on the bench over there or whatnot. Hey, look, he still wanted out. And it's a guy that we would have loved to stick around, regardless if we got Bremer. It's showing that there's signs there. There's a little bit unrest and uncertainty in the players we have. So people that want to stick with Allegri through this thing, no matter what, well, don't start complaining if guys want out and players end up wanting to leave. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. We got some more. Al, can we trust what this management? Can we trust this management? Because they said one thing, then do something else in silence. Could work be getting done behind the scenes and they're just lying that Max is safe? Well, this is the question I just posed earlier. What's going on behind the scenes? We can't tell you. We don't know. Maybe they are looking already to see what's going on. I tell you what, some fans don't want to talk about what their breaking point is as far as when you pull the trigger. They probably know what their breaking point is. And obviously, how many times have we seen it? Remember all these Nedved interviews coming up with players? Dybala, he did it with Dybala. He did it with a couple others in saying, one thing, and then the complete opposite ends up happening. And then you see Dybala leave and whatnot. It's almost like a kiss of death. He said it with Pirlo. That Pirlo's fine. He's our coach right now, and we're committed to this change. And then all of a sudden, boom, he's gone. Same thing with Dybala. He's our player. We want to build around him. He's a focal point of the project. Gone. Look, there's definitely things going on in the back, okay? And they definitely know what their boiling point is, in my personal opinion. Al, when will you reach your breaking boiling point with Max, and your thoughts on Fagioli in the starting 11 consistently alongside Miretti? I feel Fagioli can be a difference maker. For me, my breaking point, my boiling point, I'm almost there, if I'm being honest, Jeremiah. But here's the thing for me is the uncertainty of who we're bringing in. It's fine that we could talk about managers that are available right now or potentially available to us, but are they actual options? And even amongst all the names that have been named, I have question marks about all of them. Best case scenario for us is to sort it out and get it going right now and not have to get into a coaching change. Best case for us financially, it's best case for us in terms of continuity if they can get something going and get the wheels rolling. Max last season, okay, when dealing with key guys being missed like Dybala and whatnot, still went on a run. He still went on a run. Granted, they were 1-0, garbage victories, whatever, but he was getting the results. That stopped right now, but it's not like we can't do this. We can't go on some type of run. So right now, like, I'm not just there at my breaking point and boiling point, but I'm very, very close. Okay. And the flip side to what I was saying about last year, he went on a run. The key guys, Dybala being one of them, comes back, and then the plate doesn't change at all. And we still can't score goals. And we finish with 57 total in the season. So there's problems there. In terms of Fagioli consistently starting in the 11th, he looked good in his cameo in the last match. I want to see him build off that. He needs the minutes before we could talk about him consistently being in there. Catch side to that, Kenny's really done nothing outside of that goal against PSG, that header. So take your pick there. Take your pick. I wouldn't be against seeing Fagioli on the opposite side of Miretti there. How much do we surrender defensively in doing that, though? It's tough. Tough call. Dells, is there any point in Juve taking part in any Super League? We'd be relegated at the first attempt the way we are now. So yeah, I mean, other than the financial influx immediately, just for taking part in that, which would more than cover the deficit we're facing right now, which would be massive for this team, it would still be greatly worth it for Juventus, regardless of getting bounced in the first attempt. But I kind of spoke about it in my frustrations when in the post-match to Salernitana, I went studs up on our team and our club and Agnelli, the atmosphere at the stadium, trying to get into the Super League, focus so much on Super League and all this when we can't get our shit sorted out at home domestically. We got to get things sorted out. Bottom line. But the financial benefit is it can't be overlooked. Cannot be overlooked, everybody. So look, in amazing live, you guys are all fantastic. I love these sessions. I mean, I almost always have a team member with me, but when I don't, I'm still enjoying these shows so much because of all of you. So thank you. You guys are amazing, literally. So massive props to all of you. Again, if I could get maximum amount of likes on this video, that would be amazing. Okay, so look, the feelings are everywhere in terms of Max, the players, like I said before, it's not realistic to say that Max is the sole issue because that's simply not true. And he isn't the sole issue. But the problem is that role, that heat comes naturally with the job he signed up for. Okay? It just comes naturally. So it is what it is. It's going to be one of those things where what's the boiling point? And none of us know what Juve's boiling point is. What is Agnelli's boiling point? There's all sorts of discussions being had at the moment. Okay. You've got will Agnelli have to be held accountable for Max because he brought him back when against Pirlo, which many felt Pirlo was hard done by and whatnot. But here's the thing. Agnelli has a board he answers to. John Elkann. Remember when a few days ago anyways, right before Salernitana, I believe it was. Yeah, he put out his interview and John Elkann was speaking about he's got renewed confidence and he's more sure than ever that we're returning and whatnot. And we drop a 2-0 halftime deficit to Salernitana. And flat on our face outside of 14 minutes of football in the first half. Waste another half of football right after John Elkann, of all people, says that he's got renewed confidence. Look, Elkann was part of the decision to bring Agnelli back, or Allegri back, sorry. Agnelli, he's got a board he has to answer to. They're in on all the calls. It is what it is. So I don't see Agnelli going anywhere. And honestly, it's the things that frustrate me with Agnelli are he needs to be the business mind and he might need to trust those around him. And if he can't trust them or doesn't think that they're making the right decisions or whatnot, I don't like how he overstepped Nedved and Paratici or whatnot. Regardless of how I feel Paratici worked, I didn't like how he just simply said, no, like we're moving away from this guy. It's going to be this guy. I didn't mind it with Sarri because I truly believe Sarri needed to go because he was saying all the wrong things, doing all the wrong things. It needed to go. Do not feel he had the locker room or is capable of having a bigger name roster like that. I just don't think he's capable. That's just my personal opinion. It's my personal opinion. In terms of Pirlo, then they named Pirlo whatever, and then Agnelli pulls the trigger on that. After naming Pirlo himself, they got 2 trophies. They had to squeak in the 4th, and that scared him. And he thought the stability in Max coming back. And the truth is, not a whole lot changes. It's going to be tough. I don't see Agnelli going anywhere. But Agnelli does need to correct what's going on at our stadium. He needs to clean up everything that's making it a circus. He needs to make it so that the only thing that's in question is the what's going on the pitch. Okay, all this other nonsense about the team and whatnot needs to quiet down. Okay, the stadium, sort out the stadium. All right, But in terms of Nedved and whatnot, you see Nedved leave in the last game at halftime and fans criticizing him for that. What do you – this guy, this Nedved guy, man, he can't win. He sits up there. He loses his mind because he's not happy, and he was the one that pushed for a change from Max back in 18-19. And he still somehow has the job, even though they completely gone against. And basically, that's Agnelli basically saying, hey, I don't trust your word for shit because I'm bringing Max Allegri back. Hey, here we are, nothing getting better, nothing progressing. And Nedved gets up, walks away because he can't take it. And now he's still getting hacked for it. So he can't stay in the stands and flip out because it's unprofessional. He can't sit there next to a beautiful woman. Heavens forbid he's sitting next to a beautiful woman and she's stroking his face or whatnot. Can't do that. And he can't walk away from his seat in disgust at how we're playing, regardless if that's how all of us feel. The guy can't win. So I really feel for Nedved right now, okay? Really, really feel for Nedved. Prediction time. Let's get into it. Jeremiah, I'll be bold. My prediction. Juve 4, Benfica 1, Vlahovic 2, Milik 1, Di Maria 1, attempts 13, on target 8. 4-1 victory against Benfica today. Jeremiah, I've never wanted you to be more right than this moment right now, okay? Never, ever have I wanted you to be more right. Rozzo, 2-1 or 3-1 win for Juve. Dusan and Miretti goal. There you go. There you go. 2-0 Juve. Milik and Di Maria coming in. All right. All right. All right. Look at this. 1-0 Juve. B1897. Prediction is 2-2. 3-0 loss. 2-3. Milik, Vlahovic, and Miretti. Okay. Juve winning. Repeat of Villarreal's second leg today. 0-3. Wow. Woo. 2-0. Vlahovic brace. Ooh. We will lose or draw today. Definitely not a win. Ooh. Dells, I called 2-2 against Salernitana. I'll say 2-1 Benfica. All right. All right. So let's get into it. We look at the lineup. I think it's our best bet. That projected lineup, if nothing changes there. The only thing that could potentially change is a Juan Cuadrado change, which I don't see happening. Pick your poison at that point. Everybody pick your poison. I don't see it happening though. So I think 3-5-2 is the best way to shape up against them and get it going. Still question marks about the hybrid option of Miretti being the attacking mid out of the left side. The patterns of play continue to lack. Benfica plays very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. They're strong in the middle too. They can stretch you out. They can do it in build up too. They can hurt you in multiple ways. Juve, a little too predictable. Are we going to be able to play with a pace and a manner that causes them issues? Are we going to be able to swarm them and put them back, pin them back, put them under pressure? There's a lot of question marks about Juve going into this one. It's a big game though. It's a must win. I hope that regardless of what Max says, and I've always been saying this, regardless of what he says in the pressers, whatever, I hope he gets it right behind the closed doors in the locker room. I hope these guys are ready. I hope we don't waste any minutes of this match because we can't afford to. If Juve can play a focused, determined, solid match, I think we have a shot at edging them by 1 goal. But right now, I don't know if I have the confidence in them being able to do that. My gut's telling me we see a 2-2 draw today. I will gladly be mistaken and wrong if Juve can pull this one out. I see Juve maybe getting 2 goals in this. Is it going to be enough? Are we going to be able to stop Benfica from scoring 2? Could potentially. That back line puts it all together. I don't mind Danilo as a third center back whatsoever. Bremer is an absolute unit. Okay. I want to change to 2-1 because I'm always optimistic on game days. My gut's telling me 2-2 draw. I want to be optimistic. 2-1. I'll just do it. Okay. I don't want to call a draw today. We need the win. It's a must win. I'm going to call the 2-1 victory. Okay. I'm going to go 2-1. My goal scorer, I'm going to actually put Vlahovic. We need to get him firing. Vlahovic will get one of the goals. I hope it's in an open play. Okay. Get an open play goal. And how about a greasy one on a set piece? Juve's been able to find goals on set pieces. Maybe Bonucci or Bremer on a header goal. Maybe even a midfielder like McKennie on a set piece. Let's take McKennie. Let's take McKennie on a set piece. Okay, 2-1. My outside predictions will be, I don't know, offsides, maybe 4 for Juve. Okay, 4 total offsides. And I've got goal scorers as my other category. So 2-1, Vlahovic, McKennie, 4 total offsides for Juve. Let's see if we can get it done, everybody, okay? Let's see if we can get everybody done. Reno, I know where you stand, my friend. I know where you stand, my friend, but I still can't surrender. Can't surrender the results, man, and I still need this team to win. So this is a hot topic as well, Juventini, okay? This is a hot topic as well. I'm going to leave with this, okay? Because even before this, Max Allegri, if we remember to the year right before he got sacked originally, right? He was very divisive for fans. Okay. He was splitting the entire fan base on guys that wanted him to stay and guys that wanted him to go. Okay. He split the entire fan base. And right now, you have some really, really dark takes that are hoping for Juventus to essentially not get the results so that it will essentially speed the process up of getting him fired. There are Juventini that feel extremely, extremely hot about that, okay? Saying that, look, how can you wish for this team to fail and whatever for it? All I will say is this. It's not a stance I will ever personally take. It's not a good look. It's very, very dark. But what it is in their minds, it's a blessing in disguise because that's how strongly they feel a change has to take place at that position. So I'm not saying that anybody is right. And I'll never say there's only one way to support a team or whatever. Everybody's entitled to support and, believe whatever they want to believe. But for those people that want Juve to start dropping more and more results, I can't be there. For me, the best case scenario is we sort it out and get it moving together and get it rolling and start getting these results. Because, like I say, even in getting some results, when you still look at the overall play and you still look at the team being flat and the mentality issue, even in getting results, it could spark a change. It's just there's so many signs all over this team. So I can't, when it comes to wishing them to not succeed in order to move forward and hopefully spark this coaching change. I'm not there. I can't do that. I just can't do that. But I understand why some would feel that way because they feel it's the only way the change will take place. So, let's try and go easy on one another and remember at the end of the day that all of us want the same thing. And that's Juve to thrive, Juve to succeed and get back to our throne where we need to be. Okay. So let's just remember that regardless of our opinions, where we stand and everything. And I appreciate those that are in here that are backing Allegri because, we can't all look at things one way and in the same way. All right. So let's just try and remain respectful of everybody because we have to keep in mind we all want the same end goal, which is Juve to thrive and succeed. So regardless of our beliefs in Allegri, today is a Champions League match. It's against Benfica. We have to win because I don't even want to think about not potentially making out of this group, okay? So let's get going. Let's fire things up. Let's hope the team puts out an inspired, motivated performance, pulls it together, beats the piss out of Benfica. Then let's move on to Monza this weekend and carry it through and beat the piss out of them, okay? Enough with the excuses, enough with the nonsense. This is Juventus. Let's pull it together. Salernitana was a screw job from the FIGC and Serie A, okay? Let's start today with Benfica in making things right and showing everybody who we are, and then let's carry it on into the weekend, okay? Enough is enough. Fino alla fine, Forza Juventus. Let's go get the victory, okay? I appreciate each and every one of you joining me on this live today. We're going to be back tomorrow live, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully some team members will join. They should be joining. I believe Anthony will be there, okay? But let's fucking go, okay? Beat Benfica. Fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. I'll see you all tomorrow morning, okay? Ciao tutti. Enjoy the match.